Hey guys, it's Vince and Drew with Power 5 Fanatics, and we're going to do our picks against the spread again for this week. It's a great college football Thanksgiving weekend coming up, and we found 5 games we like a lot. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only, so gamble at your own risk. That being said, we've had a really good last 3 weeks, Drew. Out of 15 games the previous 3 weeks, we're 12-2-1. We had one push. So we hope to continue strong again this week. I think we got 5 good ones here. We'll start off with, of course, this is rivalry week. West Virginia at TCU. Not really much in the way of rivals, but they are Big 12 teams, kind of stuck in the middle, like most Big 12 teams seem to be. TCU's favored by 12.5 in Fort Worth. We do like West Virginia to cover that game. And, West Virginia's just looked a lot better, really defensively and offensively, since they made the switch to Jared Dagey at quarterback.
Really, they lost to Texas Tech. Was that
3 weeks ago?
Yeah. Really bad. And I think they kind of made a...
And I think Tech was just really played good in that game. They just got up on them early.
Yeah.
And then,
they were down at one point, 35-10 or something?
It was 35-10 at halftime. They just got up on them early, and there were some turnovers.
But I think at that point is when they finally made the switch to Jared Dagey, who was their backup. Now he's looking like he could be their starter.
Which is funny. His older brother used to play at Tech.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he used to play at Tech as well. So that was an interesting move, and it seems like it's paid off for them.
Mm-hmm.
At least so far.
And their defense has played better. Let's see. Last week, was it Oklahoma State that beat them last week? 20-13.
20-13, yeah.
That was in Morgantown. West. Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay.
But still, holding Oklahoma State to 20 points. Hey man, that's good in my book.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, we just putting it all together. We really like TCU getting almost 2 touchdowns. So,
or West Virginia.
I'm sorry. We like West Virginia getting the 12.5 points.
Yeah.
Next game, we're going to go up to the Big Ten. This one definitely is a rival game. Northwestern at Illinois. Lovie Smith has Illinois playing much better this year in a lot of different ways, and they're excited, the fan base. Illinois is favored, of course, in this game by 8.5 points, and we like Illinois to cover that. Northwestern has just really struggled. They've been inconsistent. Last week, I actually thought they played pretty decent against, who they played, Drew? Was it Minnesota last week? I can't remember. Anyway, they didn't cover, but they actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was Minnesota.
Yeah,
for sure.
and but they've struggled so much offensively throwing the ball, and they have a hard time putting points up. Illinois playing at home, their fan base is pumped. I just think they're going to win somewhere in the 30-15 range, something like that.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough. We try to look at patterns in this type of thing. We try to go off consistent, patterns of what we're seeing week to week. Northwestern week to week has had a good defense, but their offense has been historically bad. I mean, just horrible, to that type of level. And Illinois' offense on the other end is a little bit better. So I do think that they have the capability, especially at home, to cover 8.5. I mean, I could see this being about a 10-point game. What do you think? Maybe 24.
Well, I'm thinking they're going to win by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
Something
So
like that.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good play. Both these teams have kind of been inconsistent, but I think just
Illinois overall has had a pretty good season. They've surprised a lot of people. Staying in the Big Ten, another big rivalry game. Indiana at Purdue. So we had the Battle of Illinois. Now we got the Battle of Indiana. Indiana at Purdue. Purdue is getting 6.5 points at the house. We like the Hoosiers. We like Indiana to cover this minus 6.5. They've been a much better team than Purdue this year.
Yep.
They've stayed in games. I think the only game they really got blown out bad was against Ohio State.
Yeah, and they kind of got beat pretty good against Michigan
of course,
past weekend, but it wasn't,
but that's the Michigan late in 2019, which is a lot different than early Michigan.
I don't think Indiana lost any type of dignity in that game.
No,
I mean, I thought they played pretty well, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was it 38-17 or 38-19 or something like that? But I mean, they didn't play horrible. It was just Michigan right now has been really impressing us personally. I mean,
Indiana's those looked really good. I mean, what are they, 7-4 this year, Drew? I mean,
so. They're 7-4 because they were 7-3 and they lost to Michigan.
Much more consistent than Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue has been real shaky. In fact, speaking of TCU, they blew them out early in the season.
They did. 35-6
at Purdue,
or something.
Yeah. They've just been really shaky. Indiana much more consistently. On offense and defense also, but we like Indiana covering the 6.5 points on the road. Staying in the Big Ten, this is probably maybe the third biggest game of the weekend. I would say Wisconsin at Minnesota.
Yeah.
There's just so many implications here. This is for the Big Ten West title. Mm-hmm. Minnesota being at home is still getting points, 3 points, and we like Minnesota covering that 3 points.
Yeah.
Getting 3 points at home. Both teams, they're kind of they're different. I mean, Wisconsin's been so strong defensively. Minnesota, they've
been more of an offensive.
They've been more of an offensive team. They're opposites of each other is what I'm trying to say, but very strong in one area. But I just think Minnesota overall, especially playing at home, also getting those points at home, that's a big deal. And this is, I don't know, this is one of the biggest games they've had at Minnesota in years, I would think.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
I'm not a Big Ten historian here or anything, but they don't get much bigger than that. I think Minnesota's a better team. I think they're going to win.
Yeah. I think the matchup between Wisconsin's offense and Minnesota's defense is kind of the differing point. I think, Minnesota versus Wisconsin's defense is also going to be pretty interesting too. But I agree with Vince that I think Minnesota is just an overall better team.
I think they are.
The interesting part, though, is what's Jonathan Taylor going to do? Because this is a little bit of a weaker defense in terms of, what they have been playing in the Big Ten, because there's just so many good defenses there with Iowa. Northwestern's even got a pretty good defense. So that'll be interesting, but Minnesota's the underdog here.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to call Minnesota win 34-30.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Back to the Big 12, but there's a lot of big games this week. This is probably the best weekend of college football.
Yeah.
Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. What's the big moniker of this game?
Bedlam.
Bedlam, yeah.
Yeah.
It will be Bedlam because they're playing at Stillwater.
Yep.
The line,
very hostile.
Oklahoma State is getting 13.5 points, and we like them getting the 13.5 points at home, and we'll cover. I think Oklahoma will win this game, but there's no telling. There's going to be a lot of scoring going on. I mean, this could be, 38-35, something like that.
Could be.
I think it's going to be a lot of scoring, even though Oklahoma State's defense has been playing a lot better. In fact, right now, I would say it's better than Oklahoma's defense.
I'd have to agree with that, and I think that's kind of where I'm looking at this in this game. Why is it almost 14 points? Because I feel like, this past several weeks, Oklahoma State has had 10 interceptions or something.
Yeah, their defense. It came on the Iowa State game.
Yeah.
Ever since then, their defense has been much better, and you can look at the offense, say, well, Oklahoma. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Oklahoma's got a better offense, Oklahoma State.
For sure.
But it's not just heads and shoulders above. And this is going to be a barn burner, I think. Even with Oklahoma State playing better on defense, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. But I think Oklahoma State will cover the 13.5.
Yeah, I do too. And I think this game could come down to turnovers. I mean, who's going to make the least amount of mistakes in this game? This is a hostile environment for Oklahoma. First of all, they're trying to do something to get to the playoffs. They have to win this game by.
Yeah, they really need we keep using the term beauty pageant, but Oklahoma really needs to beat them bad. I just don't think. I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
I think Oklahoma State's got too much pride for that, and I think
I think they're too good of a team.
The stadium is the way it's built. I mean, you have the two sidelines, but right behind the sidelines, you have the home fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most It's one of the harder places to play just because of that. I mean, a lot of the opposing teams, players get a lot of heckling and just some different things. This is going to be a tough spot for Oklahoma. I mean, they're going to have to win pretty good, too, if they want to make the playoffs.
We do like Oklahoma State covering the 13 or getting 13.5 points.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this game, just as a side note, if Oklahoma State actually wins this game, you could argue they're the best team in the Big 12.
You could.
And they're not going to go to the Big 12 championship. I mean, I think it's already set in stone, isn't it? It's Baylor and Oklahoma.
Baylor has theirs stamped, and I think is Oklahoma playing for it for sure this week.
I'm not honestly. I'm not
think
sure.
That they might already be.
I think they're already in it, but.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma State, you could argue if they beat Oklahoma, it's just from the eye test. You know, the second half of the season, you have to say they're the best team in the Big 12. You could argue that, but
yeah.
Well, hey guys, we appreciate you watching. This is a lot of fun doing these pick videos. And anyways, y'all have a great Thanksgiving and subscribe, like, share, comment, tell us what you think, and we'll be hit the notification bell because we'll have some more videos coming out.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.